somewhere.
Man,
There's got to be some rehearsal footage somewhere.
there's got to be. Actually, you know what? Can I get your
Oh, yeah, man. What you looking for?
your Wi-Fi info? Oh, I was just want to look at the whatever the timeline was for when he was on Chris Rock show. Oh, okay. It's not even a big deal, really. I can just look it up on my phone. What's wrong with me? I have problems. All of this will be edited out because I'm just doing whatever. But we'll keep moving forward on that. But yeah, like I didn't know that was the deal. He was like doing that early.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Actually, it says okay. The one with Sadiq and him was 97.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that was like fall '97 or something.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to say it doesn't.
For chicken grease, it doesn't say what the.
It just got the YouTube clips. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Yeah, because the one for 90. I know the one with Sadiq and him was Valentine's Day '97. Okay. I remember them saying that. Let's see.
Yeah, like it's okay. I'll find it later.
Let's see. Chris Rock show, Jennifer Lewis. Nope, that's the same thing.
Doesn't say.
Let me type in chicken grease.
Yeah.
See if that helps. So let me ask you this, man, because where were you? I know, were you at VCU by the time Voodoo came out? Okay.
Yeah. And
so what was the vibe about that? Because I know I was kind of out of school, but I remember, I just remember being really like, okay, because Left and Right came out as a video prior to that came out.
Yeah, for me it was a weird time because I was a huge Maxwell fan. I was a huge D'Angelo fan, or I was a pretty big D'Angelo fan. But I tell you, initially, when I heard Untitled, I was like, yeah, that's fire. I was like, that's it.
He's like, yeah, that's it.
But I think it took me a minute because this was also the first time I was introduced to Jay Dilla and that vibe. Okay. I did not know. I was really because there's like a period of hip hop that like people love. That's like the '93 to '96 era,
right?
Which is where Jay Dilla started coming in through Q-Tip and through that era, and even like the Love movement. But I didn't get heavy into the production side of it, and so I didn't know about Jay Dilla as much. So it was
like September '99.
Oh, September '99. Okay, so and the album came out in January of 2000. Yeah. So wow, he teased it that early. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he will work the music live early. We've seen that with him with the Black Messiah stuff.
But I think too, and then again, I think the thing that separated him apart from the contemporaries again was he was the musician band dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you could tell, and I'm sorry for the listeners, but if you're a Prince fan, you could look at that and tell, like, okay, he's studying the Parade era.
Right.
Or he's studying this, that. And so they even mentioned in the article about, like later, when Quest would do the tour diaries and things like that, he would say, like, we studied these dudes because we wanted the band to be this. Also, I think another important element that kind of raised flags for, like, musician cats were like, oh, Roy Hargrove.
Absolutely. Him being on the record, him being ushered into that era with the RH Factor and everything else, it was a great time because like you knew that whatever record was going to come out with these guys, it was going to be great.
It was going to be something different.
I would say, Voodoo was more of a growing thing for me once I got into the line, the root. Once I understood more about what was happening with the groove the groove stuff, because the J Dilla groove thing was brand new to me.
Yeah,
and it was brand new.
Yeah.
So, but I was going to say that the Common album, Like Water for Chocolate, that album, I got it instantly.
Yeah,
I got that. Like, that was my jam instantly. I was like, okay,
I'm feeling it. Yeah,
it started with the Fela groove.
Yeah,
and then it goes into all of
time traveling.
Time. You know,
yeah.
there's instrument that record introduced me to Jill Scott.
Mm-hmm.
That also introduced me to Bilal.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Bilal is just crushing it on this one track. Just later.
I
think it was Time Traveling.
It was Time Traveling, and was it Ghetto? Was Ghetto Heaven?
Yeah, man.
Ghetto.
They let him just blow, you know, on that jam. Oh, you got it right?
Yeah. I think it was Ghetto Heaven.
Yeah, and was he on the? He was on the Questions too, maybe. Yeah, Ghetto Heaven. Yep, and D'Angelo's on this as well.
I mean, you know, it's funny, like, looking back, and you go laugh at this. The this era of Voodoo, Like Water for Chocolate, Mama's Gun,
Funky for You.
Yeah. It's almost reminiscent of, and you may not, and you may not remember this, but anybody that's, you know, been a Prince fan since, Controversy, is reminiscent of like 82 with Vanity 6.
Yeah.
What time is it? 1999, or like 80, or like 84 with Glamorous Life.
Yeah.
Purple Rain, Ice Cream Castles, Apollonia 6, meaning they had projects.
No, Ghetto Heaven was D'Angelo.
Okay.
But look, Antonio Hart is on this cut. Like, they got Antonio Hart in this jam, man. Like, they got real cats.
Yeah.
In the band, Sandra St. Victor wrote some stuff in here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where this is where Common really kind of gets introduced to the world, you know. And
yeah.
This is where he's now like he's got an Oscar. He's got an Oscar. Yeah. He's got movies.
I think movies. I tell you something funny, man, and like, you'll see this. He actually signed that CD for me.
Nice.
But he signed it when he came to Tower Records, I know, promoting B.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you remember that? And he was like, "Yo, you can get the new one." I said, "Yo, no, yeah, I got the new one, but I want you to sign this one."
Just like, yeah, he gonna sign this one.
I was like, "Hey, man, hey, look, I feel the new one, but this one,
man,
bruh, I mean, yeah, this." And it's funny because like, you've been, like, I know how much, like, you are into music, and we talk sometimes about classic albums.
Yeah.
And I think at this particular era, when you think back over those years, man, a lot of times people like misuse the word classic now, and it's kind of like, well, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Like, to you.
Yeah.
And I don't knock that, but I think at this, now we can look back at these collections of songs and what albums or whatever, and put them in that category of Off the Wall, or 1999, or Thriller, or Purple Rain, because you look at, Common may have probably done a little better with B in terms of people knowing, the corner and go.
That's more of a work of one or two producers.
Right.
It's like a little bit, and this one also is more of a cohesive record as well.
But that's what I mean.
But B is cohesive in a different way because it's just more streamlined after the Electric Circus.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot for people.
But, and then I say this too, think about, and I get it, if you weren't around then, you kind of think like, oh, okay, well, those albums must have been really good, but there was a lot of stuff that came out that like, people don't even talk about anymore, like, and not to say that, somebody doesn't talk about it, but that just goes to show you, like, 20 years out of all the R&B albums, the past week, all I've seen them talk about is Voodoo turning 20.
It's Voodoo. It's been Voodoo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, Erica, for all intents and purposes, everything else after Mama's Gun was almost an EP, she said. You know, like this, you know, some Worldwide Underground was an EP.
Yeah.
This was that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this might have been her last, I know, like, collective effort. And even with that, it wasn't, like, none of these albums had what people would say are like traditional singles, like, for the time. Like, The Light didn't sound like anything that was on the radio. It just was so dope. People was like, oh, I dig that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bag Lady it wasn't celebrating, say, materialism. It was talking about materialism. And people just jumped on it.
It was, and I would say it was the last, like, collective kind of, like, record that Erica had. Like, after that, it felt like, you know, she was doing more of the stuff on her own. You know, maybe I mean, maybe not exactly like Mama's Gun, but it seemed like after that, it seemed like she was doing more of, you know, recording the stuff herself and then bringing people in
to add their parts.
Although I will say that does give me hype to think about New America, because that record, both of those records are.
So let me ask you this, man, because as a drummer. As a drummer, when you listen to Voodoo saying Mama's Gun, as a drummer, like, what do you...
It screwed me up. It screwed me up. And back then, it screwed me up. Now, I'm like, okay. But back then, it screwed me up because I was like, this is weird. Like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. And it took me a long time to understand it. Like, I'm, like, being real. It really took me a minute. And honestly, I think it took a while for the other drummers, the community, to bring that in. You know, honestly, because I think that feel of taking the quantization away, which I think is so. I think that is so tough for, like, for regular people to understand. Well, not regular people, but, you know, the regular consumer. Taking away the quantization is such a comfort. Having the quantization period on records is so comforting for people. Like,
well, I mean, so complacent.
It's complacent, but it's like they want the beat to be exactly where it is and be lined up, and, like, that's what had been happening for years. Like, even the Roots records. That's where, I mean, that was Questlove's thing. He was like, I want it to be so clean and so precise and so on the beat and so on the grid that they can never, you know, they can't say anything about it. So that was the antithesis of but again, that's how records used to be made. They used to be made without the click tracks. It used to be the guys just in a room having a feel. And that changed. That changed at some point. And D'Angelo's record kind of helped bring that out. Also, I have to say that day was actually a pretty monumental day. The day it came out, it was January 29th of 2000. The Steely Dan's 2 Against Nature also came out that day. So I bought both of those records. So if you going back and forth at the time, I was definitely listening to the Steely Dan record a little bit more. Because there were things that because that was the first Steely Dan record.
It was catchable. It
was catchy, but also it was the first Steely Dan record in 20 years. That was the first one. That was there after they reunited after 7 years. They had been on the road for 7 years, and they finally come out with one more record together.
I think Voodoo. Well, I think all of them, when you listen to them, like, individually, they are not an easy listen.
No.
Or not a quick listen. Like, you won't. But over time, it seeps into you. You're like, oh man, did you hear what he said? Or did you hear what they did? Or did you hear what they played? And then you're like, oh, like, this is dope. Like, when they started to bring it out live to you, then it was like, oh,
well,
this
it turned
hot.
into a different experience when he started doing it live. I want to let's go back to that record though a little bit, because, like, that was, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, Steely Dan and then D'Angelo. So it's like you have two different schools at work right there. Because the Steely Dan school is the quantization. They are going to put those drums through
perfect.
They're going to put that thing. They're going to MIDI it. They're going to, you know what I mean. They're going to put it on Pro Tools. They're going to put it in everything. They're going to put it to a grid, and they're going to, like, it's going to be fine tooth comb the whole way through. You're not going to hear a mistake. And then you go to D'Angelo's record, where you're hearing
it's grimy,
the breathing, the mood, and it's a very mood conjuring album. The first record right off, I would say, play it. The first record right off, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
I was like, that record just with that bass line and Questlove's feel on the drums.
Yeah.
It's undeniable that song.
I got a Prince reference for you.
Okay.
It's funny. This Prince album that I'm about to